Craig,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can't see you, but you must not be sharing your video. Okay.
Yeah, it's not working on this computer. Quick question. I use Storable, and you're with Storable, right?
Yes.
I use you for everything from websites to site link to merchant services, and I'm going to be using you for my new location that's going to be opening up hopefully September 1st. My question is, we're trying to go to touchless, and the problem I'm running into is we can do it, but Storable does not require a driver's license. And my fear is anyone could rent a unit and, give false information. How do we get, and I asked this question yesterday in a meeting, and there's a third-party software that can check things, but do you have anything that could make them upload a driver's license? Because I don't know who I'm renting to, and the likelihood everything would be okay, but I've heard horror stories of people storing stuff that you don't want stored.
Okay, so Jim Ferguson has joined, and I'm going to recap your question. Hi, Jim, and see if I get it right. Craig is a current customer, Jim, and he utilizes several of Storable's products, websites, SiteLink for FMS, merchant services, and he's adding another property on September 1, so he'll have 2 facilities, and he wants to take everything contactless, touchless. And I heard this. Craig, did you ask Chuck yesterday during his presentation?
Was that who you typed it to? My wife typed it because I typed like a 3-year-old.
He didn't answer.
Yeah, and
I remember this question.
The other guy from Open Tech answered it, but Chuck didn't get really the time to answer it. So right now I can do reserve now, but I don't want to do rent now, because when I look at the other competitors that have rent now, they have a map on the website so they know where to go when they get to the property. They have to give their driver's license. Now, this is one of the big REITs, but I just, want to know, how do I rent it to somebody and I don't have their driver's license, and they're going to get there and it's a pretty big facility. They're not going to know where to go. So how do we post a map unless I do it at the facility at every entrance? You are here. You are here. I want to be able to put a map on the site link and say, you rented this unit, and it highlights it, and so they know where they're going.
No, that's fair, honestly. And this is actually one of the hesitations for, I think, a lot of people to actually pull the trigger and do full rent online. There are a lot of operators, and I think Robert Sheedy talked about it yesterday, and so did Chuck, that there are people who just fully rent online, right? There's Jefferson Shreve to Red Dot Storage to many people that have never actually met any of their operators before. I was at a trade show, clearly pre-COVID, in Tennessee, and I sat at a table with a couple operators, and there was a lady there who owns three stores, and she's like, I have around 2,000 tenants, and I have never met any single one of my customers. And she lives right in the same area where this other gentleman lives, who I've known for a while, and he's always been hesitant to actually jump into online rentals. And he's like, this is the reason, right? I don't get to look that person in the eyes. I don't get to see the whites in the eyes. I want to meet that person. I want to do those things. And she said, why? What does it need? What do you need this for? Do you need a copy of the driver's license? You can scan and upload these things. And she said, I don't have these risks. I don't have break-ins. I don't have tenants that I'm hesitant about. And she said, everything's month to month. And that's part of this whole agreement. So sorry to long-winded this, but to answer your question, there are tools available to help you with this. There are website platforms that you can actually upload a driver's license into the system, that then it would be attached to that tenant's account. There are other operators that also look at this and say, I don't want any Joe Schmo just uploading their picture of the driver's license. I want them to come into my facility and show it to my manager. So I could come in, and Kara could be my manager and show my driver's license, and she can then get that, scan it, and then walk out to the facility. Go Go ahead.
I don't care about really seeing the people, not to sound mean. What I care about is I was told from SiteLink I can't upload a driver's license yet. And my fear is that someone comes in, stores stuff, and I really don't know if it's Billy Smith, Johnny Smith, or, I have a dump station a ways away from me, but they charge. They can come rent a unit, for first month free. And I'm being very negative here, put 55-gallon barrels of oil in there because they don't want to pay the dump fee. I just want to know who I'm renting to. So my question is SiteLink at least working on something where we could scan a driver's license, upload a driver's license, or do some kind of verification, so we have a little more certainty who we're renting to?
That's fair. So it kind of actually depends on the website platform you use. So
I use you for everything.
Fair. So the reason I asked this is I know a lot of different operators handle this differently, right? Everyone wants it to be how it should be done for their personal control and how they look at risk. There are operators and with website companies that you can upload pictures into the move-in process. The verification system out of the box with SiteLink is not there. It is not a thing that you scan to validate that this is a real person, right? Like that's very hard to do. There are systems like the OpenTech kiosk. There are systems that having a manager in site to actually come and do, scan the driver's license. But out of a brand new move-in, you can upload images into SiteLink at the time of move-in. And that's via doable today through technology. So that's just a conversation, I think, with your CSM for this specific instance, or even then, Kara, if you can get his contact, then we can just talk through clearly walking through this step itself. And Craig, since you're a client, then I can reach out after and I can walk you through those steps. But there are some things you can do to mitigate risk as much as possible for this instance.
All right, but at this present time, with SiteLink, because that's who I use, we cannot have the client upload a driver's license.
No, sorry. No, you can have a tenant upload the driver's license. That is a viable thing that's available today. What's not viable is to validate that is a valid driver's license, not an expired driver's license, or not like my wife's driver's license. That part's not.
So I guess sorry to interrupt. I'm sitting here with Craig. So I guess the question is, we turned on our online rentals just briefly, and we did the whole thing, and the lease was uploaded there. When we got through the lease, there was no place to when we do it inside the store on My Hub, there gives the option then to upload the driver's license. And we have there's 9 different pictures or whatever you can upload. When we did it for the online rental, so we could be, no contact, and they didn't even have to come into the office, there was no place for them to upload the photos there. So we then turned it back off because we don't, like I said, we're in a good area, but there's areas not too far away from us where people could, we don't want people living in our units, that sort of thing. They just put in a fake name, they don't have an ID, and then they decide to camp out for a month. That kind of thing.
No, that's fair. And for this specific use case, I think you're using the website template, which I do not believe has that capability, but our website platform does, and other website platforms do, of this online move-in plus upload a picture. Sorry. But out of the box, the website template that is, and I'm thinking that's the piece that you're using, is one. And that's what I'm saying. So maybe we set up a call just to walk through this real quick.
Okay.
Because I want to make sure that we're actually walking through this correctly. Hey, Scott.
What's happening, guys?
I love that Scott's here. This is great.
No. You look very tan. What is going on?
Yeah. I've been trying to stay at the beach as much as possible.
I'm actually on the beach right now. I'm in Oregon for the summer. We got out of Dodge.
Hey, Craig, just so we don't leave that conversation unended, I wanted to let you know that I sent you a private message so you can respond and give me your contact information, and we'll continue that dialogue.
Will do.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Send her a message and give her my contact information.
Well, my apologies. I didn't mean to hijack there.
No, I'm all for, honestly. So one of the things about this kind of breakout session like this, and this is one of the things I love about self-storage, and while I'm trying to work on technical difficulties of showing my one tab, having people on this call and having conversations and open conversations is wonderful. And Scott, I've known you since how many years now? So having an open dialogue with our history and experiences and mutual clients and all of that, that's one of the best things about roundtables. And I was looking forward to this type of roundtable because it's always like you bring a couple ideas to the table and then it always kind of spurs into whoever's at the table to actually have conversations. So
Exactly.
I am a big fan of this. I am trying to find a way to share my one tab and not everything else. Chrome tab, there we go.
There you go. I was just about to tell you.
Okay, if I present this, then I don't blow it up. Does that work? Yeah, all right.
While he's doing
so-
that, can I get everybody to maybe, I want to make sure that I'm curious to know who else is out there. So either please add your name to chat or let us know what state you're from. Do you got what you need there? I was helping you out there, Jim.
No, I appreciate it.
The wingman.
I more than appreciate it. I'm trying to find a way that I can look at screens and navigate. Okay.
Super.
I love Kara's question, first of all. That's awesome. Okay. So who am I? I'm Jim Ferguson. I'm the product manager here at Storable for SiteLink platform. My history has actually given me a different outlook and view in the industry, which I'm very thankful for. I've had the opportunity to work as the vendor side on the industry and as well as the operator side of the industry. Well, actually thinking back at the bio and the history of within self-storage in general for my time here. For one, it's my 10-year anniversary within the self-storage industry. And for two, I've actually been to a lot of trade shows. And actually between, I think, Scott and myself, anyone want to take a guess of how many shows I've been to in 10 years?
10 years. Oh, let's see.
Scott, have you thought about your number?
No, I haven't. You've got to be in a couple hundred, I would imagine. It's
Yeah, I was going to be like right around the 250.
So I think the number I actually tried to figure out was around 230.
Well, we're pretty good.
So I've been to a handful. I've had the opportunity to work for the largest self-storage software company, SiteLink. I've had the opportunity to work for the largest third-party privately held management company, Storage Asset Management. I've worked as a consultant with operators from all sizes, from 1 to 150. And now I'm working for the largest technology company within self-storage. So my range is quite big. Also, I have changed over the years as I'm looking through this. Many of you, and Scott probably remembers, way back when, Jim Ferguson days with long hair, used to work for SiteLink with the old square logo, for those who remember. Joining Storable with the short hair, and then now today with a toddler and a dog within an arm's reach, right? As everyone works a little bit differently today. So, going through multiple tabs. So the topic today is defending your storage operations. And there's multiple pieces to this, right? So what does defending mean? What are you defending against? How do you actually defend? And then resources to help you. And that's the main piece. Okay. So defending in general, we know what defending means, right? You know, protect from harm or danger. And right now we all look at this a little bit differently. What are we trying to protect? Again, I'm not navigating as fast as I thought. What are we trying to protect? We're trying to protect ourselves, our clients, our staff, our facility, which is a massive bucket of things with multiple aspects, including revenue, reputation, security, and multiple pieces. And what are we trying to defend against, right? So not all of us are superheroes. Many of us are, but keeping your staff and tenants feel safe with doing business with you, your physical security with break-ins, tenants not paying you, prospects not doing business with you, leads not finding you, tenants abusing, I'm going to say this COVID time, losing revenue in general, your staff truly just not feeling safe, and there's many different things that we are all trying to defend against. So if we were to focus just on the tenants themselves and now what they're wondering, as this has been around for a little while, the conversations I've heard, and this is what I've heard a lot from tenants, as a tenant, do I continue to make storage payments? Am I going to incur or accrue late fees if I don't? Will I have access to my space? Will the operator sell my stuff? What are those risks? What are those things there? So then let's talk about how to defend. For one, clearly just be a superhero, knock it out, right? Most moms are that already, so that's pretty much done. If that's not possible, then there's many ways to accomplish this. And let's just kind of start with one thing at a time. So first, let's just talk about communication. Over communicate as much as possible. And as a whole, I'm hoping many of you have already done this, right? You've already reached out to your clients to say, we're here for you, but here, I highly recommend that, we actively communicate with tenants, especially those who indicate difficulty paying rent, and get that in writing and put that in the tenant account, right? And get that down. For those tenants who don't communicate with operators and fail to pay, I believe this, other operators and many self-storage lawyers advise people to continue to move forward with your normal business, right? So including overlocking, sending lien notices, and extend the proposed sale through this month and next month. This is a business. We have to continue as a business. I know many operators in the beginning of COVID put a hard stop on all the rate increases, right? So in March, whatever the date, I guess their D-Day, that people actually put a hard stop on rate increases and they pushed them out through July and August. I know many other operators that did the same thing for auctions, right? You just kind of put a hard stop because they really didn't understand what's going to happen. But now auctions are coming back. People are cutting locks. People are putting rate increases into their system. There was a pause for many months, and now it's back because it is a business. And there still are those customers that have issues, right? All of us are affected by this pandemic differently, and there are many who unfortunately have had more problems than others. And there are ways to work with those tenants, exactly. But then you need to know that, for instance, Scott is that tenant that is having more difficulties, and that I know that Scott is that tenant. And if Jim is the tenant that continually habitually to pay late and game the business, then there's ways to actually work with Jim or just not make him a tenant anymore. So what are the messagings that you're sending to prospects and your clients? What's on your website? What's on your listing service page? What's on your sign out front? What's on the door at your facility? What's on your Google listing or Bing or Yelp? What are those messages that you're actually having with clients? What are you putting out there? What's on your website? This is an operator who's really close to me here in North Carolina. They have an instant banner up top of their facility, in your face, easy to see, hyperlinks, actionable items, and it tells you what's going on. That's perfect, right? Especially for all those people trying to find your facility through a website. Same thing with booking online. I know that we just talked briefly about actually adding this into it, but offering that service on there is another way to just get clients into your system. And especially when you're looking at kind of how people want to do business nowadays. Think of how all of us do business, a little bit different. And we want a little more space, we'll call it. So even with your listing services, are you tagging contactless? Sparefoot made a big push a while ago and adding this function in there, and a lot of operators and a lot of tenants are actually wanting this. They want that interface. They want to buy groceries and pick it up in the drive-through, right? The same thing with the other ways you shop just in your normal life. This is one thing that I've heard about, and Scott, I think you'll laugh at this as well, but just because of the same person here. But Robert Cheedy is one of the people that have said this for years and years. He has said, don't think the golden rule, think the platinum rule, right? How does the prospect or the tenant want to do business with you? And in this new world, think of how they want to do business now. What has changed? If it's online move-ins to reservations to just quick emails of inquiries, if it's a phone number on your website or listing to actually get in contact with you, if it's a chat function. And then what out of any of this is contactless? How do I feel safe coming to your property? What things are you saying that you're going to do to actually make me as the tenant feel safe? One of my favorite things about this industry, and I'm looking through the list of people who are actually on this already. And there's a lot of people here, like Jim, I'm looking through this, Jim Ross, it's a ton of people in here that already know this. And that's one of the reasons that we all stay in this industry, is that we share, right? Now, to talk about resources in general, who's your superhero squad? But in essence, we share, right? Operators share with operators, competitors share with competitors, vendors share with vendors, vendors share with operators share with vendors. We're all in this together. When all of us win, we are all stronger. We are all stronger together, and we're all stronger individually. So how do you get a superhero team? How do you get these resources to help you with these times? Going to sessions like this, going to, I'll go to the next screen. Looking at blogs through the industry. The Storable blog, it pulls in tons of resources. The National Self-Storage Association has tons of resources in those. And Jim, I should have added you a little bucket there. I should have had like Jim Ross up here, because even his platform, he had the virtual trade show, and he brought in tons of resources that shared ideas and concepts and other ways to handle such specific situations. A shameless plug clearly for the SBOA, who I love and will continue to be involved with, as they do the same thing. And even like your state association, each state has their own lien laws and specific things that they're trying to go through that are different from other states. And each state's governors clearly are changing through their phases differently and how it affects your business. So definitely keep track of that. And actually, out of curiosity, I wonder if there's a way. Kara, is there a way to do a poll?
Nope, that's only available to the general sessions.
All right, cool. So then through the chat system, I'm actually curious, how many people are part of their normal or their state association? Are most people connected to their own state association?
If you are, just say yes. Terry, yes. Oh, awesome, Joe.
Love this. Love this. That's the best thing. I love it because it is a organization that is truly focused on you and your state. And it's an opportunity to also work with operators to discuss some things. So I actually wanted to stop, to be honest, because I think every operator is going through something different. I think every operator is focusing on some different kinds of difficulties, right? If they have hesitations with going online, full move-in capabilities, and missing some kind of a piece of that last piece. Honestly, during the COVID timeframe, a lot of operators reached out and we're going through different problems, right? I had a lot of operators look at it and say, hey, we want to make sure that our tenants know that we can do X, Y, Z things. So we help them with their marketing aspects. I had many operators contact me asking about, electronic signatures and how can we add that into our systems to get this and to make it contact us as possible. I had many operators ask how they could do things from remote systems and using different functions from the SiteLink platform remotely, so my manager doesn't have to be on the property. They had other operators how to use technology in general. What other services could help us with these different things? There's a lot of different ways and a lot of problems that kind of arose from this that people were trying to solve. And one, honestly, if someone else wanted to jump in, but I'm kind of curious what other problems people are having, and that maybe us as a group, we can talk about those things. And maybe, James or Mariella could actually help with just, this is how I solve this problem. And this is kind of the part of the roundtable that I love.
Just want to remind you, if you want to join live, there's a tab up at the top you can click on to share your mic and video, and I'll accept you, or you can comment through chat.
All right, well, I'm going to pick on people because I know some of you guys. I'm sorry about that. Jim Ross or Mario, what kind of common things are you hearing from operators that people are trying to solve or to try to come up, just resolve in this time frame? Can you guys share?
I have a feeling Jim left. He was just doing a drive-by. He's checking out, stopping in, saying hi to everybody.
There are a lot of people trying to see who's in here with us.
Yeah, just because they've commented earlier doesn't mean they're still here either. Keep that in mind. But I do know that Scott and Craig are still here, I believe.
Craig, are you still here? Oh, Mario's there.
There's Mario. I'm adding you in, Mario. I just accepted your request. I think it takes a second to come across. There we go.
Jim, great to see you. Hi, Kara.
Hello.
So, Mario, what kind of things are you seeing? I mean, you've been in the industry probably just as long as I have. I've known you for many, many years. But you know, what kind of things are you seeing in the industry that operators are trying to overcome? Mariella, I appreciate you joining as well.
What I've seen is most of the operators that I speak with, they're actually working on protecting their employees and making sure that they're safe, and then they're following best practices. And then in addition to that, making sure that their tenants are safe and doing their best to environment that is following the appropriate protocols. Of operators as well have been really kind to their tenants in that they're waiving some of the late fees, people that have lost their job and or maybe struggling with being laid off or what have you. But for the most part, what I've learned is, which is really surprising, is and maybe no surprise to most of us on this call here, is people are still storing their goods. Their occupancy is really not dropping. And so that's been a pleasant surprise. And most people are paying their rent, but the ones that are struggling, the operators have been really offering some concessions to work with those particular tenants. So that's been really uplifting, right? I mean, it's and they've really postponed any of the auctions. So I think most of the operators are really good quality operators, and most of them are really accommodating their tenants and making sure their employees are safe. So I just see that and hear that nationwide.
Sure. No, I second all of that. I know, a lot of operators pulled their managers out of the facility, and then over time, when they got to that level that they were comfortable, that they put, the managers, sometimes they chose to go back to the facility, sometimes the operator chose. But then it's that interface, right? That door was shut. There's a note on the sign that says, "Hey, please call me and we'll talk through the phone." Think of the interactions we have now with doctors. It's the same mentality, right? I text you a phone number, or there's a phone number on the door. Call me when you're at the facility, and we'll have the conversation. I can get you to the property, and like you said, it's limiting interactions. I've seen a lot of operators. I know with like Chateau, they've done a lot of stuff with, like you said, just putting lines in the different areas, especially 6 feet apart in certain areas, and adding the social distancing. So no, I love that. Mariella, what kind of things are you seeing?
Well, our auctions went really way down in April. Charity storage auctions, I think, along with everybody else. But actually, for us, May and June have been one of the best ones ever, because I think people realized we're different than lien auctions, obviously. And it's also contactless practically, because most of the auctions are online, and you can arrange pickup with the manager without really having to interact personally. So they've been doing really well. So, for us, it's wonderful because we get to raise funds for charity. And also it's a great way for the operators to managers to maybe reach out to the community while this is happening, and kind of promote the program a little bit, because a lot of the donation locations are closed, like Goodwills, etc. A lot of them are closed. So if you are a drop-off facility, you can be kind of the one that people come to drop stuff off. And also your tenants, again, people are going through all kinds of different things, but people still move in and out. So if they don't need stuff, it's an easy way for them to get rid of items that they don't need. So for us, it's been great from that standpoint, is that we continue to raise funds for charities, which is what we're about. So
No, I love that. I didn't think about that. And honestly, that's even my own personal things, right? So all of
Yeah.
us were staying home. All of us were going through our rooms and cleaning out projects and such, and the goodwill aspect. And I honestly didn't even think about the charity storage aspect of it, where it could be a drop place where you could do these things. That's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, you can put stuff on your website or Facebook page, kind of talking about something different than COVID, because I think all of us, it's important, but it's nice to be able to put something else up and something positive, perhaps. So we do a lot of social media, and we encourage our facilities to do as well. I mean, you can connect with apartments and retirement communities. There's so much you can do to use charity storage as a marketing tool as well. Which benefits both the facility and the charity. So it's a win-win all around.
Well, and it kind of goes back to one of the things you're saying is it also reinforces your local area, right? So I live in Wake Forest, North Carolina, so I'm building relationships or continually building relationships with these other businesses who might be going through hard times or those things. So no, I love that. I just saw a note from Terry Wood that I thought was also a good line. We also order masks and hand sanitizers to put in our goodie bags for new tenants. That's fantastic. That's really good. I know there's a lot of hardships with many people trying to get some of those resources, but if you're able to do it and share it with your customers, I think that's fantastic. Mario, are you seeing anything with any kind of trends? I guess one of the things that I've seen is that there are less inquiries, we'll say, a little less in reservations. Like you said, like the people are still, making money and growing and keeping that. I have heard though that the inquiries have decreased, but the quality is much, much higher. So it's not as many, tire kickers per se. I was actually just curious for both of you guys or any other operators you guys work with.
The client we have, they've been pretty stable. I mean, actually, and without disclosing the number, we actually had our best month ever in the history of the company last month. So it sounds counterintuitive, right? Right? I mean, it really does. You would think, okay, yeah, you would think that we would be, premiums would go down or clients are moving out and what have you. But the reality is we had the best month ever, which is just really a testament to what you're saying too, Jim, is quality of tenants, less vacancies. And I think a lot of our clients, I know a few in particular, shout out to, like, for example, Ash Properties, Atlantic Self-Storage. They're in Florida. They've done a great job in feeding the community. So they, one of the assets they have is a flea market. And in addition to all of their storage facilities. So they use the flea market because of the way it was designed, there's a drive-through component where families in the community could actually drive through, and then employees from Atlantic Self-Storage were able to provide them with groceries, like a bag of groceries, water, and what have you. And each week, for the past, so many weeks, probably 6 weeks, they fed about 400 families each week.
Wow.
So it's been very, very, yeah. So it's been, and I'm proud to say I've helped support their team, with that effort in my small way. But I think, just like Mariella was saying, there is a way to give back to the community. There's a way to give back to, charity storage is a great way, right? And I think when people do that, whether it's, through our churches, through our self-storage facilities or wherever it may be, but the community recognizes that, they see that, and then they're more than willing to support the businesses that support their community.
Yeah.
I think no matter what, even if it's a big corporation, even the REITs, in the end, the facility is a local business. And I think I think mom and pops, or however many locations you have, being involved in the community, however you do that, is a great way to become a hub. I mean, we have some locations that will do food donations and food drive-throughs, and they will have fairs for their community where they bring stuff. I mean, there's just so many ways. They have a parking lot that's hardly used usually, so they can use that real estate to host events. And it really it depends on the manager, obviously, and some of the direction from the top. But being involved in the community is huge, because once somebody comes into your facility for some other reason, whether it's to donate or they maybe bid on the auction and sell at the flea market, they will think of you when they need storage, because they'll come and go, this is a nice place, I like the manager, this is where I'm going to come. So like you said, using the charitable giving, the cause marketing is different than just charitable donation, because cause marketing is to mutual benefit, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing, because everybody benefits.
Yeah, and I think now more than ever, I think a lot of people, and I know it's 12:30, so we probably have to get kicked out here in a second, but I think now more than ever, a lot of people are looking at small businesses, right? Through this time, you're looking at supporting small businesses and supporting that. And one of the things that small owners and operators can do to compete and beat the REITs is to really make that hub of your network that is local. I think now more than ever, operators and people and tenants are really just looking for that interface and that interaction. And that relationship. So I think it's a perfect opportunity for people to really dive into it. So I don't know the process here, but I will say that it's 12:30. I know that trade show is open currently, so I want to encourage people to jump out. I know there's lots of booths. I'm not sure who all has booths personally. Kara might be able to speak to that more than I can, but I really appreciate everyone's taking the time to sit and talk and chat. Mario and Mariella, I really appreciate you guys joining in and being part of the panel and really just having a conversation. I love it.
Than's for letting us do that.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad, and everyone just jumps out and jumps over to the network or the expo hall tab. So jump out and join on that.
All right, maybe we'll see you there.
Everyone has a booth over there, all 27 or 26 supplier or sponsors. So
Awesome.
Hop in and say hi. Thank you.
All right.
All right,
Thanks, guys.
Great seeing everyone.
Bye, take care.
All right, bye-bye.